Welcome to Phrasal Verb Practice. This is the place to learn real English, one phrasal verb at a time. My name is Marissa, and I'll walk you through this learning journey. Hello, everybody. Hope you're all doing great. Today, we're diving into the phrasal verb get by. So, let's start with the meaning. The phrasal verb get by actually has two main uses. First, when we say get by, we often mean to manage or survive with what we have, especially when it's not much. For example, we don't earn a lot, but we get by. She gets by with a small salary. They got by during difficult times. Now, there's another common use. We also use get by to talk about managing at a basic level, especially with a skill, like a language. For example, I can get by in English. He gets by with basic computer skills. She can get by in Spanish when traveling. So, here's the key idea. When we use get by, we're talking about managing, even if what we have is limited. It's not about doing great, it's about doing enough. Now, just so you have a quick reference, this idea exists in many languages. In Spanish, you can say arreglárselas or salir adelante. In French, se débrouiller. In Portuguese, se virar. In Italian, cavársela. In German, zurechtkommen. In Japanese, nantoka yatteiku. And in Chinese, benqiang ingfu, 过得去. So, when do people usually use get by? We use get by when we have limited money or resources, when we're in a difficult situation but still managing, when our skills are basic, not advanced, or when we want to sound modest about what we can do. Let me give you a few more examples just to bring it all together. We get by with what we have. She gets by on a tight budget. I can get by in English at work. He got by during the crisis. They get by with basic tools. Now let's talk a bit about the grammar. The phrasal verb get by is inseparable. That means we don't put anything in the middle. So we don't say get something by. That's incorrect. Common structures. Get by. We get by. Get by plus with plus noun. We get by with little money. She gets by with basic English. Get by plus on plus noun, often money or resources. He gets by on a small salary. And with pronouns, the pronoun comes after with or on. For example, she gets by with it, not she gets it by. All right, now let's practice. First, I'm going to read a short text about everyday life. Then I'll read another one in a professional or office context. Are you ready? Let's start. Every morning, I wake up early and start my day with a simple routine. I make coffee, check my phone, and think about everything I need to do. Life isn't perfect right now, but I've learned how to get by with what I have. I live in a small apartment, and sometimes money feels tight. Still, I always remind myself that we can get by if we stay organized. My roommate and I share expenses, and together we get by on a limited budget. We cook at home most days, and that really helps us get by without spending too much. At work, things can be a bit challenging too. My English isn't perfect, but I can get by in meetings. Sometimes I don't understand every word, but I still manage to get by and do my job. My coworkers are kind, and that makes it easier to get by when things feel difficult. In the afternoons, I usually run errands or take a walk. I don't have a car, but I get by using public transportation. It's not always comfortable, but it works, and I've learned how to get by with it. On weekends, I like to relax and spend time with friends. We don't need expensive plans. We just hang out, talk, and enjoy simple things. That's how we get by and still feel happy. Of course, there are days when everything feels harder. But even then, I remind myself that I've always found a way to get by. And somehow, little by little, things keep moving forward. Great, that was the first text. How many times did you hear the phrasal verb of the day? Now, let's move on to the second text. When I first joined the company, everything felt new and a bit overwhelming. The systems, the meetings, even the way people communicated were different from what I was used to. Still, I told myself I just needed to get by at the beginning and learn step by step. During my first weeks, I didn't understand every detail in meetings, but I could get by and follow the main ideas. I took notes, asked simple questions, and little by little, I started to get by more comfortably in conversations with my team. The workload was also challenging. We had tight deadlines, and sometimes we didn't have all the resources we needed. Even so, the team always found a way to get by and deliver results. We learned how to get by with limited time by focusing on what really mattered. There were days when things didn't go as planned. A report would be incomplete, or a client would ask for last-minute changes. In those moments, we just had to get by and solve problems quickly. It wasn't always perfect, but we managed to get by and keep things moving. Communication was another area where I had to improve. My English wasn't very strong at first, but I could get by in emails and short conversations. Over time, I became more confident, and now I can get by even in more complex discussions. What I've learned is that in a professional environment, you don't always need everything to be perfect. Sometimes, being able to get by is enough to move forward. And as you gain experience, what once felt difficult becomes something you can easily get by with every day. Great! That was the second text, and that's all for today. Thank you so much for following this channel, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye!